Hi guys, that's just the second half of what we were learning about main idea 3 and 4. So, for main idea 3, this is after the shot heard around the world happens. And suddenly the Continental Congress says, oh my gosh, we can't wait to meet again. We have to meet like now. Right? So they meet in May, which I have to change, right? April, May. So the month after the shot heard around the world, the second Continental Congress meets. All right. And our main idea here is that they're going to. So before we had these unofficial militias or these regular people who were just willing to fight, we're going to have the Second Continental Congress who is going to try to make this a little bit more of a real army. All right, so again, delegates from 12 colonies met in Philadelphia, but this time it was in May of 1775. Again, Georgia did not send a delegate. So, something about Georgia, they don't like being involved. Okay. All right, so of our 12 delegates, some of them were still like, listen, I still really want to be peaceful with Britain, right? Some of them might have been loyalists, some of them may have been scared. Okay, Britain was a very powerful country with a very powerful army and a lot of money. So it's really scary to fight them, right? So some people were like, listen, we really want peace. But some of the other delegates were like, no, I want to fight, right? We have not been treated well by Britain. I'm ready to fight them. So they compromised, right? They did a little bit of both. So their compromise was for the people who wanted to fight, they started the Continental Army. Okay. So now they don't only have this unofficial militia, they have a real army that is ready to fight if they have to. Okay. Their compromise for the people who wanted peace was that they sent this olive branch petition to the king. Okay. And what an olive branch petition is, it's just when they sent out a petition saying, hey, listen, we would really like to be peaceful with you, right? We really want to find somewhere in the middle that would make everybody happy. Right? So what happens with the Continental Army is that they end up fighting. And the olive branch petition, the king doesn't even look at it. He doesn't even read through it or consider it at all. All right, so after they made their efforts to make peace and it didn't really work out, now the Continental Army really comes in handy. So, the Continental Army, like we said, it's just a more official army of patriots. Again, patriots are people who fought for the colonies. And they named a guy from Virginia named George Washington to command the army and prepare for the war. Right? So we have a Continental Army, and this Continental Army is being led by the George Washington. I believe you've heard of him. Right? So now George Washington is commanding this army, and battles are starting. So in the two early battles, the Continental Army actually lost control of Boston, but then managed to regain it. Right? So look, this is the very last thing in our section. We've already passed through all of these huge events. So in the first battle, it's called the Battle of Bunker Hill. All right. The Patriots attacked the British in 1775 to steal a large amount of their weapons. Right? The British wanted to go and get all of these weapons to prepare to fight. And the Patriots were like, no, we want to steal your weapons because if we steal your weapons, we have a better chance of winning this fight, right? If we have all of your fancy weapons. So they attack them on Breed's Hill, not Bunker Hill, which is very weird, right? The name's confusing. They attack them on Breed's Hill so that the British cannot make it to Boston. So technically, the Patriots lose, right? And this makes sense considering that there are 2,400 Redcoats and only 1,600 Americans. So pretty much there were way more British soldiers, right? So the British won this battle and the Americans had to leave. But now the Americans at the Battle of Bunker Hill, the main point that I want you to get from the Battle of Bunker Hill is that the Americans proved themselves. Okay. So the colonists and the patriots, Yes, they lost and they had to leave the fight, but they killed over 1,000 British soldiers. Okay, everybody expected them to have no chance. And in this battle, they really proved themselves and said, yeah, maybe we lost, but look back on these numbers, right? Now there's an almost equal amount of redcoats or British to patriots or colonists, right? So the fight is getting progressively more fair. Okay, the next battle that we need to know about. So this is after the Patriots lose control of Boston, right? George Washington, who is their general, goes to Boston and says, listen, I'm bringing my army to Boston. We are going to set up these cannons and we're going to shoot downward at the British, right? So he positions his cannons on top of this hill, which gives him a huge advantage, right? It's really scary if you're the British to shoot a cannon up into the air, right? Where if you're the Americans and you can just kind of bird's eye view look down at the British, it's much easier to hit them with these cannons. So, the Battle of Bunker Hill, the Patriots lost control of Boston. But at Dorchester Heights, George Washington, with these cannons, wins it back. So the British were actually forced to leave out of this little picture. British, bye, right? Goodbye. They had to leave Boston because they lost this battle. Okay, that's where we're going to stop for now, right? The next section is kind of when we'll get into more of the independence stuff. Let me know if you have any questions.